Alex, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Going good, going good. Thank you for coming back, everybody, to the Entrepreneur Hour. This is Alex Gibson.
Hey,
Alex,
Miguel, how are you?
how are you? How are you doing? How's
Um,
Ireland?
it's good. It's a nice sunny day outside, so I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to our conversation. Yeah,
awesome, awesome. So, Alex is the founder of ARVR Innovate, right?
that's correct. Yeah, it's a conference that's been running for the last, 2014. So this would be edition number 7. We were hoping
Wow.
to have you back in Dublin, Miguel,
I
obviously.
know.
I know you had such a good time 2 years ago.
I was super looking forward to that. I know.
Yeah.
Um,
And then this thing called COVID happened.
I know. I remember texting you like, "Do you think this is gonna affect us?" We're like, "Let's hope not." And then look at us now.
Yeah,
There's been a while. It
exactly.
was a while ago, so it's been going for a long time. So I
That was
like to start the show by talking about how I met the guest. And I don't know if you remember, but the way we met was I was actually starting to try to create a show about AR and VR, and I posted on a group, a forum in LinkedIn. I'm looking for people to interview for a show, and then you responded, and then we spoke, and then you were like, I have a conference. I told you what I did, and you were like, why don't you come out and speak at
yeah.
my conference? So that was maybe 2017. What you
It's
remember
two.
me?
It was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 2 years ago, 2018. I think
2018.
you were here 2018. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you went down great. Not surprising that there was a big reaction. So I was keen to get you back. And we left a respectable distance of 1 year. Obviously, I think it's
Yeah.
good. And then because a lot can happen, but yeah, it's such a pity that you couldn't come live. But I identify what you're saying there about getting guests and shows. As people watching this may not know, but I myself run a radio show here
Yes.
in,
Yes.
in Dublin, Ireland, every week, which is available on the internet if people want to tune in. It's
What is it?
called
What's the URL?
so. Well, probably the easiest way is just to Google the Persuaders Radio Show.
The
It's
Persuaders
on
Radio
it's on a
Show.
city called Dublin City FM, but it's on dublincityfm.ie. And if you go to that website, dublincityfm.ie, you can go to the podcasts, and that's where you'll find my previous episodes. Well, not all of them. In
Oh,
fact, believe it or not, Miguel, I've been coming up on 20 years doing this show now, which
wow.
is quite something. Yeah.
That
So
is amazing.
yeah, I was one of the early podcasters. I mean, I was for many years telling people I have a podcast, and people won't go, "You have a what?" And
Wow.
nowadays, you're nobody without a podcast,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
or a
You
video
kind of have
cast.
to have it. It's like a website now in a
It
way.
is exactly, exactly. So I've been
All
doing
right.
that for so long, but I have a lot of fun doing it because it's marketing. It's my academic role. I mean, just by way of background, my day job is I'm a lecturer and assistant head of department at TU Dublin, which is Technological University Dublin.
Okay.
So I'm in the School of Marketing there. So I have many years working in academia in the area of marketing, and that was one of the things that prompted me to do a radio show in marketing. And I've been really lucky down the years. I've interviewed people like Seth Godin, hugely well-known names in the world of marketing, and then SMEs. And I know your focus is on entrepreneurship, and me too. I'm always interested in smaller businesses, what they're doing, who have limited budgets, but how do they get their messaging across? How do they create a niche in the market for themselves? So yeah, the whole spectrum. So thanks for giving me the chance to promote that. If people get a chance, do listen to the podcast or check it out on, as I said, the Persuaders Radio Show on Dublin City FM.
I posted the link to the podcast.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I like to start out talking about people's backgrounds. Like what was your background? How'd you get into marketing or teaching or and then even the conference? Like what made you take those steps?
Yeah. So I've always been interested in the world of marketing, a bit like when people didn't know what a podcast was. My parents didn't know what marketing was when I told them I wanted to go and study it. Now that's a long time ago. But yeah, I went to study marketing in the school where I'm now teaching in, which is quite something, isn't
Oh
it? So
wow, that's
I've
pretty
kind of
cool.
come full circle, yeah. So and some of my previous professors are now, the dean, and some of the heads of school would have lectured me before. So yeah, I've always been interested in marketing since about 14 or 15. Would you believe?
Oh
Before
wow.
before it was a thing. Let's say that there really wasn't much interest going back, more than 30 years ago. So I
To
studied
even
an
know what marketing is at 14 is pretty.
yeah, I was a bit freaky that way, I guess. Yeah, I was fascinated by it, and I've always been lucky because I've been able to, in whatever role I'm doing, whatever job I've had, I've always been related to marketing, whether it's being in the world of marketing, or teaching marketing, or running conferences, or broadcasting and interviewing people about marketing. So yeah, so I did undergraduate marketing, went and did my master's straight away in international marketing. At that time in Ireland in the late 1980s, it was a really chronic depression here. Pretty much the only safety valve was emigrating. So a lot of my classmates went to the US. A lot would have gone
Okay.
to Australia, but most of us went to the UK. So that's where I headed straight out. Working with an American company in marketing, I was working with Nabisco, which
Oh, nice.
would be well known in the US, biscuit manufacturing, and Oreo biscuits would be probably their most famous brand.
For sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
but Oreo wasn't even a brand in the UK. It wasn't even a brand at the time. But
So you
I
were
would have been
bringing the
involved in
American, you were helping bring in the American brand to the UK?
Yeah, but they also had Nabisco was a huge conglomerate. People may not recall, but it was one of the world's biggest companies at that stage. Its full title was RJR Nabisco, which stood for RJ Reynolds, which is an
Yeah.
American tobacco company, and food, and a whole host of grocery divisions. So we had when I went into the UK, I was, started as a graduate trainee, working my way up to brand marketing manager. So the brands we had, some of them were UK based. So Nabisco was a massive conglomerate. It bought tons of businesses all over the world, including a company in the UK called Jacobs, which is still a very famous biscuit manufacturer. Had a lot of factories in the UK. So so the brands I would have been involved in some of them were US, like Ritz, for example, would be still quite well known, Ritz
Sure,
crackers.
sure.
But most of them will be UK brands, or UK and Ireland. So Jacob's cream cracker won't be known to the American audience, but it's a big brand. Certainly was at that time. It was a bread substitute brand. Club biscuits, Trio chocolate biscuits, those brands will be known. It's only in recent years, I suppose, that Oreo has become huge this side of the Atlantic as well. So
Sure.
just truncating my career. Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time there in the UK with Nabisco. They were the subject of the world's biggest takeover by a conglomerate of REITs called KKR, based in New York. It was made into a movie called Barbarians at the Gate. Became a
Oh,
really
was it?
celebrated
I gotta check
movie
that out.
of corporate intrigue and corporate takeover. So yeah, I mean, the stories I cannot tell you on air, but it was
Save it for when I'm in Ireland and
yeah,
we're having our
and I
drink.
was a lot of levels down, obviously quite a junior level, but it actually made history at the time as the world's biggest takeover. This investment house called KKR, and they were based in New York, and they bought the company and stripped it of the assets. So basically, within a year or two, they sold all the various divisions off. And my division was grocery, and we got bought by a French group called Danone, which I think is quite big in the States as well. The dairy, you may pronounce it Danone, or
Oh, Danny,
Danone, yeah.
yeah.
So that group, they acquired all the grocery products and biscuits, and they were a great company. So I worked for the last couple of years with a French company, so I was visiting France quite a lot, and they were very interesting difference in style of management, obviously. And I wanted to get back to Ireland, and I was kind of keen to get back into something consulting rather than brand management. So long story cut short, a job came up in Technological University, Dublin DIT, as it was then, as a lecturer. And I thought this is a great stepping stone to get into consulting, because lecturing will suit me. I've kind of got a curious mind. I'm kind of interested in the intellectual side of things, and applied for this job as a senior lecturer. Didn't really think I would get it because I was quite young, but anyway, I did. And I came back, and believe it or not, I'm still in that organization, but I've taken 2 or 3 career breaks. So I've taken career breaks to work with in academia. I've gone to lecture at the very famous ESSEC, which is one of the best business schools in Europe. I've spent sabbatical in Paris, and I still am a regular visitor there. I go there almost every year to teach courses at during the weekends. I've then took a sabbatical to work with Holiday Inn to bring the Holiday Inn Express brand into Europe, which was a great exercise.
Wow.
That's going back into the late 90s. So Holiday Inn Express was part of IHG Group. They did a partnership with Bass Brewery division in the UK to bring the brand into Europe. So that was a big project. We went from 0 to 100 properties in 18 months, which was incredible growth.
Wow.
And we had to bring the brand. So because I would have known, I was working in a tourism faculty at the time. That was my first posting, I should have said, when I came back to Ireland, was in the tourism faculty, specializing in marketing, hotel marketing. So that was a really interesting time.
Sure.
Then I went back to academia for about 10 years.